Welcome to the channel. Here we've got an example of a TISSOT PRC200 of rather dubious authenticity that we're going to have a look at. This watch was purchased from China through eBay and was described as second hand or used, but as new condition. It's come in what looks to be the original box with the manuals, all still sealed up in the plastic. For all intents and purposes, it all looks fairly legitimate, but not quite the same quality as you would expect from the real Tissot box. And open up inside, and here it is. When you're buying watches online, it makes it very difficult to pick up on some of the subtle differences between the real thing and the fake. But with this video, I just thought it was a good opportunity to put the two watches up against each other in no particular order. I'll just show the differences between the real one and the fake. I actually had a subscriber ask me about the authenticity of his own PRC200, so it sort of prompted me to do this video a bit sooner than I'd planned. At first glance, the quality of the watch looks fairly reasonable, fit and finish. The polishing looks good, it's brushed where it's supposed to be. The bracelet looks reasonably good quality. It's got the milled clasp as the original would have. It's even got the diver's extension that it's supposed to have. The first thing that we notice is not quite right is the chronograph second hand is moving all the time, and the sweeping second hand on the dial at 6 o'clock has only started moving now once we activate the chronograph function, which is not the way things are meant to be operating. And also the sub-dial at the 2 o'clock position is 24 hour, and it should be tenths of a second. Here on the real PRC200, you'll see the sub-dial at 2 o'clock is tenths of a second, the sub-dial at 6 o'clock is your sweeping seconds, and now the chronograph function's been activated, you'll see the chronograph second hand is operating. Reset, everything goes back as it should. Okay, while we're talking functionality, these watches are rated at 200 metres, so they should have a screw down crown. This watch obviously does not have a screw down crown. Just pop the crown straight out, one for the day, second for the time set, and it's back in. If you have a look at the real deal, before you do anything, you've got to unscrew that crown. Some of the differences between these two watches are glaringly obvious, and some of them are barely noticeable. Here's a shot of the two watches side by side. You can see that the original is a tad thicker in the case than the fake one. Some things just leave me totally perplexed. Like, I mean, here you've got an hour marker that's just stuck on the dial crooked. Next, if we have a look at the fake, you'll see the crystal sits noticeably higher than the bezel, whereas on the original the bezel sits just a fraction proud of the crystal. A comparison of the dials shows the obvious issue with the sub-dials at 2 o'clock, but it also shows the subtle difference in the thickness of the numerals printed on the dial. The Tissot bracelets are much better quality, and the clasp is slightly different. The original's got T461 stamped on the milled part of the clasp, and the fake's just got the stainless steel stamped on it. Both watches have hollow end links. Here's the original, and here's the fake ones. You can actually see the marks where they've been pressed. I'm not even sure they're made out of stainless steel. Here's the two side by side. The original bracelet has the arrows on the removable links, and the fake one does not. Both watches have a screw down case back, with the Tissot having more of a radius on the edge. And if you compare the two, the engraving is different. So you're going to pop the back off the original here. You can see there's a cover underneath the case back that you've got to get out of the way to access the battery. If we have a closer look at the movement, at the top we've got the ETA logo, so it shows we've got the Swiss ETA movement. It's a G10 to 11 and it's 4 joules, which is the correct movement for this watch. We'll get the case back off the fake and we'll see what we've got lurking inside here. And it is a Japanese made Miyota JS05. Well, I think I've covered most of what's not quite right with this watch, and it is a bit concerning. I'm seeing more and more watches getting faked, which is a bit of a worry. But look, if you see a watch, if the price is a little too good to be true, the pictures aren't super clear, or the ad doesn't read quite right, I would give it a miss. I don't think it's worth the risk. All that said, I hope you found this information helpful. I'll leave a link at the end for a video I did on my PRC200 if you're interested.